The Texans are now 0-3, and that means we have a lot to talk about. Welcome to the KHOU 11 newsroom. I'm Jason Bristol. Once again, Texans talk following another loss. 0-3, Houston drops to following this 17-10 loss in Jacksonville, a place that Houston had not lost, or at least Houston had not dropped a road game to the Jaguars since 2017. And now Houston is 0-3. Many of the issues, nearly all of the issues that we've talked about the previous two games, back again in this one. The offense continues to struggle. Negative plays. Few, if any, big plays. And the reason Houston was in this game, aside from its defensive effort, was the Jaguars were just as hapless. As always, we're doing our one word. Give us one word to describe this game, which you saw on KHOU 11. I'll be looking at the KHOU 11 Facebook page, so leave your word there as we are getting ready to break this loss down. 17-10, again, is the final. Some notes that I've written down here from watching the game. I think the Texans certainly got a lot of help from Jacksonville, and I believe the Texans also tried to rectify, address some of the issues of CJ not having time to throw the football. They seem to roll him out a little bit more, get him outside the pocket. I imagine the thinking is that certainly it gives him more time and he's able to get away from all the traffic up front. And he did have some nice runs. When you look at the stats here, CJ, 4 carries, 22 yards, had a long of 12. But again, he had 25 completions on 38 attempts, 204 yards, 5.4 yards an attempt, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was sacked twice. But those 2 sacks, he was once again under a lot of pressure. I thought Andre Ware on the broadcast made a really nice analogy of you and I showing up to work and our computer doesn't work. And it's like short-circuiting and it's not powering on, and then maybe it does power on and then it kind of gets all scrambled. And I'm going to take it one step further, that imagine that scenario where you're on your computer and you're up against a deadline and your computer's not working, and then all of a sudden with 30 seconds to go, your computer pops on and you can kind of get some work done, but the time is counting down, and then right before your deadline reaches, it short circuits again. And that was Andre's analogy when it comes to the offensive line, that because CJ has so little time to process things, that's where problems arise. And we've seen that week in and week out, not just in 2025, but of course in 2024. And here we are again, only this time it's really bad. As we have been mentioning throughout the week on KHOU 11 News and certainly on social media, you've seen this statistic that teams that are 0-3, only once since 2000 has a team rallied from an 0-3 deficit to make the playoffs. And that was the Texans in 2018. 0-2 is bad. 0-3 is nearly a death sentence in the NFL. One positive is that of those 3 losses, the first 3, only 1 has come in the division. But it's going to be immensely difficult for this team with this offense to do anything to make some hay in the AFC South. Let's go to our Facebook page here. Got some words already. I see some good ones. I see some good ones. Carlos says, offense is stale. CJ looks terrible. I agree. This offense is not good. Not good. Michael says, born losers. Pathetic as usual. Lupita, who is right over here, who told me, I have a word for you, and I'm going to save it. And I am so glad she did. This may be one of the best words we've ever had. Ever. Cooked. Because we are cooked. Stephen with a good one as well. Lackluster. David says CJ is not the answer. The O-line stinks. I do believe CJ is an answer, but with this O-line and this offense, you're right, it's not going well. Justin says completely inept. And I'm gonna steal one of those words and put it on our board. I will put inept. If I'm gonna do that, I should probably do it with Michael's word as well. We are hoping to hear from DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud momentarily from Jacksonville. We'll put pathetic on the board as well. Some other notes that I had. It's hard for CJ. Ooh, there's a good one from Noah. That's a good one. Noah says catastrophe. That's a good one as well. It is hard for CJ when, and I think this was mentioned on the broadcast as well by Adam Archuleta, that yes, it's not good when you don't have time to throw the football. It is even worse when your pass catchers are not getting any separation. And I think that during the broadcast they actually had a video montage of really CJ not having anyone to throw to because there was no separation. Tough day for the rookie at left tackle, Ariante Ursary, going up against a guy who is really good. And that is, of course, Josh Hines Allen. Let me see his stats. Josh Hines Allen, credited with only 2 tackles, 3 quarterback hits though, 1 solo, pass defensed, and a half sack, but he was a wrecker. He was a game wrecker. Jaguars offense isn't good either. Trevor Lawrence was 20 of 40. He was sacked twice for 222 yards. Texans, in addition to not having a passing game, the running game was not great either. 87 yards on the ground, on 19 carries. That works out to roughly 4.5 yards a carry. Jacksonville, give this Texans defense credit because the Jaguars came in with one of the best rushing attacks in all of football, and the Houston defense held them to 86 yards on 24 carries. That's 3.6 yards an attempt. The longest run was 10 yards. So again, this Houston Texans defense continues to do its job. Justin says Ursary was getting handled, pushed Ursary right into CJ on that one play without a doubt. Give me 1 second here. Yes. As I'm reading some of these comments from you guys. And again, we always appreciate you weighing in as well. Robert says, feels like the same offense that has kept the Texans from ever truly contending. Nothing has changed ever. Without a doubt that this offense, I shouldn't say that. The 2023 offense, CJ's first year when Nico was cooking and the offense was cooking, that was a good offense. Look at the numbers that CJ put up. But this one, listen, you're not going to, they're in a really bad spot offensively. Let's put it that way. You can't bring in a whole new offense 3 or 4 games into the season. That's not going to happen. Now, typically, you're going to run the same offense. Maybe you would have a different play caller. Maybe. But all these issues that all of us saw, that the O-line was such a problem, and they saw it as well because they wouldn't have made the wholesale changes they did. But what they brought in clearly was not enough. Now, Ursary, he's a rookie. He's going to have games like that. It's just when you have no offense, everything is magnified. When your margins are so razor thin, everything is magnified. Justin also brings up a good point. The calling card for the DeMeco era in Houston is the undisciplined teams. They have at least 5 penalties a game. It is very interesting because one thing when you talk to the Texans or when you're hearing them speak is they're always talking about the character guys and I'm going to paraphrase, smart, hardworking character guys. And that's true, but man, they make a lot of penalties. And they come at the worst times too. It's and again, when you have these razor-thin margins to work with, everything negative is going to be magnified by 50, 60, 80, 100%. Let's see what else you guys are saying about this. The Jacksonville Jaguars nearly handed Houston this game. That was a very curious decision by Liam Cohen with 6:18 left, 4th and 2 going for it. Especially, and again, as the broadcast and Adam Archuleta pointed out, the way the Jacksonville offense was functioning, that was a very curious decision. And then also at the end of the game in which CJ's arm was hit and the ball is intercepted, Archuleta also mentions how it's a questionable play call, that there's no help for Ursary on the left side since he'd been having a tough day. Third and 2, and comes a penalty that pushes them back. Yeah, there's this team. Let's look at the final penalty stats. They had to have been around 6 or 7, I would think. They were at 7 for 66 yards. And again, Jacksonville had 9 for 70. Possession battle, Jacksonville by 2.5. Texans had 13 first downs, 4 of 15 on 3rd down. Beat the Jaguars in yards per play, 4.6 to 4.4. This was just not a pretty football game. All right, right now let's go to Jacksonville, where DeMeco Ryans spoke just moments ago.
Yeah, the last interception, we got beat off the edge, right? And the defender hit C.J. arm, ball went up in the air, and they made a play on the football. Guy made a good catch there. They made a play there to finish the game.
Through 3 games, obviously a lot of eyes are on the offense. From your viewpoint, how has it gotten worse than it was last year?
I wish I could pay for live TV only on the weekend.
Sling lets you do that.
That's great.
I wish I could take advice.
Spray tan.
That's cheating, Janice.
Introducing Passes. Get live TV for the day, week, or weekend, starting at $4.99. Sling lets you do that.
And score points. We understand where we are, and we got the guys, got the right people to get it fixed. We just got to get it fixed and play cleaner.
Conversations with McKaylee, did you try to get the offense going? What's that communication like, and what do you feel like is plan? What were you guys trying to accomplish on offense with Nick today?
Yeah, for us offensively, we were trying to just make sure we sustain positive drives. That's the thing, right? We had games, the previous games, where we've gone backwards, whether that be penalty or not operating with enough urgency. But today I thought we were clean with the operation. We just didn't make enough plays, right? But you didn't make enough plays, and then we have penalties that kind of put us back in second and long, third and long. We have to get past that. And as soon as we get past that, then we can see, how good of an offense we can be.
When you talk about not making plays and penalties, where do you park that on?
Yeah, it all starts, first off, it starts with me. Right, I got to clean it up. If we continue to make penalties, like silly penalties, it starts with me. So I got to do a better job of coaching, so we can understand how to play the right way and don't hurt ourselves.
Does this surprise you that your team is making penalties like this?
Yeah, some of the penalties it's not what we coach to do. And again, penalties come from poor technique. So it's not a matter of guys are trying to make penalties, but we just got to clean up with how we're playing the technique the proper way. You play the technique right, and you eliminate penalties. Yeah, we wanted to get juice. We wanted to get juice in a little bit there for Lakins. Just wanted to roll those guys, see how that's going. So we wanted to roll those guys. That was our plan going into the week.
A few more. Derek Stingley Jr., do you have an update?
Yeah, Stingley had an oblique injury. He'll be day to day. We'll see how he progresses throughout the week.
How would you evaluate Nick Caley's performance so far?
Yeah, for our offense, right? Overall, we're all in this thing together, right? Of course, we want to play better offensively, right? We all are sticking together. We got to find a way to make sure we figure it out, and we will, because I know we have the right people, right? We got the right staff, we got the right players. We just got to figure it all out, and we got to go show it. It's not me saying it. We just got to go show it, and that's when we'll see the improvement.
It seems like you just go back a couple of years, when CJ was the backup quarterback, things felt not necessarily easier, but there were a lot more explosives consistently. This year, it just hasn't felt as many throughout this season. What can you guys just do to kind of get that explosiveness that CJ obviously can lead an offense to back on track?
Yeah, we hit an explosive today to DeMeco for a touchdown, right? We had another one on the over route that we just missed, the throw and catch a little bit, so the explosives are there. We got the guys to get the explosives. We haven't connected on as many. I understand that, but we've hit one today as well.
Do you feel like you could have done that a little bit earlier, connecting on that type of explosive play?
I feel like we ran our offense how we ran it. If we made the plays that we made in the game, right? We called it how we called it. We can't control what's happened now. You always look back at the film. You'll go back and analyze it and see, okay, what could we have done better? What could we have done different here or there? And that's why you review the game and see how you make improvements the next week.
DeMeco, are you discouraged by the way your team is playing in addition to the 0-3?
Yeah, I am not discouraged by my team, right? We played with outstanding effort today. We played with the resolve to give ourselves a chance to come back and win the game. And again, it's another fourth quarter drive, and that's the first 3 games. So am I discouraged? No. We've been in all 3 ball games, right? We've had opportunities in the fourth quarter, right? 2 times offensively to go and end the game, 1 time defensively, and we didn't make those plays to win the game. So our team is right there.
So there is DeMeco Ryans from Jacksonville following the 17-10 loss to the Jaguars. Some of you are jumping into the comments section here on Facebook. Dan says time for a new OC, new GM, and new HC, head coach. Dan also says you don't have the right guys. You can't fix it with the current guy. Dan also says when you don't know the answer, just say it starts with me. But I also have to really highlight this one. Dan says, who can watch this and think we have the right people? And it's funny you wrote that, wrote that because I wrote it right on my notepad here, the right people. I think right now you can clearly see that you have to question whether these are the right people. You had an entire offseason to address this stuff, and it's arguably worse than it was. I think you could make that argument that it's worse now. Justin says DeMeco is safe. Time to get the last remnants of the Patriots way up out of here, and that's Caserio. I agree with you, Justin, that DeMeco, this is DeMeco's show, I believe, and we will see how the McNairs feel about the job Nick Caserio's done. It's pretty clear that the way they've addressed this offensive line for this season is not working. There have been some swings and misses in the draft, which is going to happen, but it does appear as though drafting linemen is not a strength of this team or this organization, especially when you pick them so high. Kenyon Green, Blake Fisher, of course, are the main guys. Waiting to hear from CJ Stroud. I don't see any other one words here, but I agree with you, Dan. I think when you look at the product right now, it really raises a question: are these truly the right people? Because Jacksonville. Man, I wish we had a platter here. Jacksonville basically handed this game to you because of their issues, and it was right there. The words we have thus far: cooked, lackluster, inept, pathetic, catastrophe. Justin says, let's be real. The Patriots way was hinged on Tom Brady. Nobody from the Patriots tree has been successful. Yeah, it is. Based on what we're seeing and what we've seen over the last 10 years. And let's do a rewind here. The Texans went through a lot to get Nick Caserio. A lot to get Nick Caserio. I mean, this is dating back to the Jack Easterby days. As we're waiting to hear from CJ Stroud, and I can remember Cal McNair coming on a Zoom and saying, we are not Patriot South. And in some ways, we have seen a swing from that, and I just wanted to make sure that I had this, but 2019, the Patriots filed tampering charges against the Texans due to former Patriots employee Jack Easterby attending the Super Bowl ring ceremony where he was believed to have tampered by talking with Patriots personnel director Nick Caserio. Charges were dropped after the Texans stopped their pursuit of Caserio, who was in a contract with New England. So that was June 12th, 2019. Once again, the final, Jacksonville 17, Texans 10. Let me see here if we have C.J. Stroud. Yes, C.J. Stroud has been to the podium. Tim says 0-3 on their way to 0-16. Now it's 0-17. But I don't see that happening. That's really hard to do, especially the way this defense plays. This defense is going to win you a game or two. It has to. The way it's been playing, it has to. And let's see. Dan says we are wasting a good to great defense. Yep. Brian weighing in. Welcome, Brian. He has deserved. Justin Nick was an O'Brien choice, just like all of his other questionable choices. I mentioned this last time. Yes, Bill O'Brien was Bill O'Brien, but he understood that there was a need on the offensive line, and he pushed his chips all the way in and got Laramie Tunsil. Here, they did this patchwork thing. I actually give O'Brien a little credit for recognizing we need a franchise left tackle. We need somebody to protect our biggest investment, our greatest weapon in Deshaun Watson. And yes, you could argue in hindsight that it maybe wasn't the right left tackle, but at least he tried to address it. All right, we now have C.J. Stroud at the podium from Jacksonville. C.J. Stroud talking about this 17-10 loss to the Jags.
A little bit of both. They played some good coverage, and I tried to take what they gave me in the first half, and that play kind of just popped. So it's a good play. But yeah, that's kind of how the first half went compared to the second.
For you guys, what was the most frustrating part about it? Was it penalties or just knowing that y'all are better than maybe what y'all showed? Or what do you think?
I think it has to go together. Like penalties are part of us, and that we're better, but also, we can play a lot better. I could play a lot better. We got to help. Our defense has been holding up. We got to, able to help them. So, yeah, it's not easy, but yeah, we just got to do better. Just move forward. Got to fix some mistakes and yeah, just keep going forward.
DeMeco was, obviously not pleased with that fumble. I guess, how do you all? He had made those mistakes in the past, so how do you all kind of work through that in particular?
I just got to pick them up, just like they picked me up. I threw an interception, and everybody was, helping me out on the sideline, keeping my spirits up, and same thing for him. We know, he knows that, well, we all know he doesn't really do that, so it's just something we got to just coach up, and whatever, happened, we got to just fix. And, yeah, he's a heck of a player, and, my faith is in him like everybody else's, so just got to pick him up, and I'm sure that we'll get that fixed.
Do you feel like that touchdown to DeMeco could have been like that jump starter that could have really, because from that moment on, the offense was kind of moving up and down pretty efficiently. Do you feel like that play, obviously outside the turnovers, was kind of like a jump starter for the offense?
Yeah, definitely. Whenever you can make a big play, you could start calling everything, and that was the first time we kind of hit one other than, a go ball last week, which isn't really like a design play. This league is hard to, take what they give you time and time after again. And, like that's what this league has come into with all the too high zone coverage. And so, yeah, that play kind of opened everything up, and we started moving the ball really well after that.
On that last play, obviously, your arm got hit. What were you just kind of seeing on when you just kind of going through that coverage and obviously trying to get the ball curved down the middle, obviously the ball got tipped. What were you just kind of seeing on that play?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they went to like this two-man kind of coverage, and I thought Kirk was open. I thought we maybe would have scored. And like you said, my arm got tipped, so unfortunate there. I made a good play, and that's the NFL. Is like 2-inch margins, and yeah, it just sucks because I thought I had CK down the middle, and I thought we had a good drive. We're moving the ball pretty well, so it's unfortunate.
What was DeMeco's message?
One another, so you know, his message was just, you know, we're going to keep having these results if we don't finish and we don't, you know, take care of the ball and just do the small things. Because the effort's there, the physicality. Now it's just the execution.
It's tough looking at the bright side after a loss, but what are some of the good things that you guys are doing on offense today?
I thought we ran the ball well. I thought we somewhat threw it well. It's always better than what you think, but when you lose, of course, it's not good enough. So, there's the sun will rise up tomorrow, and we'll be able to go back to work. So that's a positive, and you know, you got to just keep going forward. You know, everybody's gonna talk crazy like they've been doing, and have these analyses, and rightfully so. Like, you know, that's NFL. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So we got to be able to stay together, stick together, stay as a family, stay as a brotherhood, and you know, try to get these things fixed. Because you know, it's a long season. You know, sucks that you start 0-3, but you know, it can be flipped. Stick together, stay as a family, stay as a brotherhood, and you know, try to get these things fixed.
So there is C.J. Stroud from Jacksonville following the 17-10 loss. C.J. Stroud, again, a rough day at the office. 25 of 38, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He threw for 204 yards. Looking now at some more comments. Again, I appreciate all of you guys weighing in. Some really great stuff. Justin says, the announcer said KHOU's plays look New England-ish. I did not hear that, but doesn't surprise me. He's got New England in his tree. And it was interesting, and I think probably a lot of teams do this because he was the GOAT, but CJ had made a comment, and it may have been before the first game, about how they were going back and looking at some of Tom Brady's work. He was doing some film study with breaking down some of what New England and Tom Brady was doing at some point. Justin says, will Collins be another Andre Johnson wasting his talent away in Houston? Mike says, Mike, thanks for joining in. It all looked so good on paper. Sad. It's the same old Texans. So I wrote sad on here for you. Wrong kind of consistency. CJ is a great quarterback. Maybe not his time, though, with these dynamics. I think that is a very good assessment. Donald said he shows the same emotion in an interview that he shows on the field. I actually believe that CJ, after that long touchdown toss to Nico, in which Jacksonville kind of bid on a play fake, but that was the old CJ, right? The way, the reaction after that touchdown, that was CJ. CJ, and I looked this up while he was talking, now 0-3 this season, and if these numbers are correct, he was 23-4 in his time at Ohio State. 23-4. Losing is not something C.J. Stroud is used to. Dan says, I feel bad for C.J. going from being a winner to being defeated. Sharon says, sad. Charles says, very bad playing. And as a result, the Texans are now 0-3, and this is incredibly difficult, if impossible, to find their way out of, given history. Only one team in the past 25 years has made the playoffs after starting 0-3, which means our Sundays in January may be a little less busy around here. We shall see. All right, one last look at our words. Cooked, lackluster, inept, pathetic, catastrophe, deserved, sad. I'm going to pick as the one-word winner today. These were all good, but and I don't want to be accused of favoritism here, but I'm going to put cooked here. That will be the word for the day. Now, here's where the Texans, they may look at this one day and say, oh, remember when someone said they were cooked? And look at us now. So this could be bulletin board material. Could be. Courtesy of Lupita. So if the Texans go on a huge run, they may look at this very moment and this very board and say, this is when things turned around. At least that's the hope inside NRG Stadium, where for days the Texans have said the building is not burning down. We're not burning down. Well, we may smell smoke and see a few flames right now when you're 0-3. As always, thanks to all of you for not only watching but participating. I'm Jason Bristol here in the KHOU 11 newsroom saying so long, thank you, and once again, your final is Jacksonville 17, Houston 10, and we will have much more discussion tonight with former Texan Seth Payne from Sports Radio 610 on Sports Extra. Again, thanks for watching.